Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica from the 104.5 The Zone studios. One day after the college basketball season ends with UConn going back-to-back, beating Purdue in the national championship game, Tennessee getting transfer portal news. Forward Tobe Awaka has hit the portal. He is the third Tennessee player to hit the portal, joining DJ Jefferson and guard Freddie DeLeon. Speaking of Tennessee basketball, the Lady Vols officially introducing new head basketball coach Kim Caldwell in a press conference in Knoxville beginning right about now. In NFL news, veteran safety Logan Ryan announced his retirement this morning at 33 years old. His 11-year career included 2 Super Bowl titles and a 3-season stint with the Titans from 2017 through 2019. The Nashville Predators are back home tonight. They host the Winnipeg Jets, needing only 1 point to clinch a spot in the playoffs. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Tuesday edition of Blaine and Mickey. Hope you survived the eclipse yesterday. It didn't really eclipse too much where we were. It got really cloudy, and we didn't get to see a whole lot of eclipsing. It got dark. We were at Two Rivers Fort, had a great time, but we saw darkness and clouds. But apparently people around Middle Tennessee got a decent look at it in other spots. So,
Well, I saw it got darker, but it wasn't dark, man. I mean, I was seeing all kind of other stuff on social media and TV. So, well, yeah, man, it's pretty cool, man, to see something like that, man. So when is it supposed to happen again?
20 years.
20 years, wow.
Yep.
2045,
So it takes that
right?
long? Let me actually say, I don't know nothing. It takes that long to go back around?
I don't know what all goes into this, but everything's got to be aligned with everything.
Yeah.
So
Mickey's been a trooper today, so me and Banana's going to have to carry it away from Mickey's a little under the weather, so going to make sure if he says something crazy because he's drugged up, to just keep that in mind.
I got you, Mickey.
It's another migraine day
I
for
think
me. So.
the eclipse must have eclipsed your allergies.
I was hoping it would eclipse my migraines. That maybe if I stood outside and looked up long enough, it would kill them. But it just gave me one for today. So there's that. Bananas informed us Kim Caldwell, the newest Lady Vols coach, is going to be speaking live here pretty soon.
Yeah, I've got the press conference pulled up over here. We're waiting on them to start that. Some reporters on the ground said that it will start momentarily. So
All right.
we will
So-
keep everyone informed.
We're just kind of curious what she might say. We'll try to take a live look in there as soon as that happens. And more Vols news. This happened basically right before our show. Tobe Awaka went into the TP today.
Oh, yeah. I saw it's a couple other guys, too, as well. Mike Wilson was the one who informed me on the other 2 guys. I hadn't even seen those.
Freddie DeLeon, I think he's the 4th or the 5th. Freddie DeLeon, and then DJ Jefferson, who was a very highly touted recruit for Rick Barnes. I think a 4-star who had just never found his way into playing.
They
minutes.
were. What year was he?
They were redshirt. Both Freddie DeLeon and DJ Jefferson were redshirt freshmen. And then Tobe Awaka was a sophomore.
Yeah, that one there was the one that intrigued me. I think that's why I saw it. Because he had playing time and he played a lot even as a freshman. So to me, this would have been the year he might have been the guy. Right? Or no?
Say that again?
Like he would have actually started. That's
Who,
what I'm
Tobe?
thinking. Yeah, that's
Oh,
what I'm
yeah.
getting. So I'm trying to figure out why he would leave. I'm just using logic. I'm sure there's other things going on. I'm just talking about a home court performance. I have no idea what goes on behind the scenes and conversations and everything else. But I would think him and Adu would have to be right there, to be the guys. But you just never know what the coaches are telling them, and maybe they're asking, or maybe they're hard to deal with, or vice versa. So maybe it's not a good fit. So just never know. But especially when a guy's playing, I'm always intrigued. But basketball players, more so than football, kind of bounce around.
Yep.
I would say more so than not. It's kind of the way it was, even before the TP and all that. That kind of happens. So
Well,
only 5 guys can play.
what it tells me about Tennessee is that they think very highly of J.P. Estrella, who you saw got a lot of decent minutes in the tournament, especially against in that Purdue game against Zach Edey. And then Cade Phillips, the other freshman who didn't play as much this season. I believe they are redshirting him. They must think highly of that. It's either that or they have a guy in the portal who they're targeting to bring in, and they just kind of let their bigs know, hey, this is kind of how it's going, and Tobe made the best decision for himself.
Well, for me, that logic doesn't make sense for me about some recruit who may or may not come. Nah, that I'm already here.
It's probably more of the J.P. Estrella and Cade
Estrella's
Phillips.
an actual center.
Yeah.
Toba Awaka is a 6'8" power guy, power forward. Now, he played center because they had nobody who was as tough as him mentally and would push him outside the box. But he to me, his use should be more as like Grant Williams style, not Grant Williams. Absolutely, he's not that guy, but the way they should utilize him. I think it's kind of interesting. It's always big guys that are leaving. I didn't even remember that Louisville kid who's now going somewhere else too. I think he's going to NC State that left UT in the beginning. Hatfield was his name. I wonder if there's interesting that the bigs at UT don't get like the gravitas of getting, let's say, a point of emphasis in the offense. And I would say that. I think, Estrella's is what he is. And, I mean, to me, then the Adu's going to transfer then because they play the same position.
That's what T.J. Martin in the chat says. Adu is next to leave, he says.
Right, that's right. Adu, I mean, he developed, but he didn't take it more to the next level that they wanted. He got right there, and then it stopped, halted. That's why I said, he made second team. Yeah, but he's still not, he's not where he needs to be.
Yeah.
As we saw, all he had to do was just be a little more physical and have that little bit killer instinct mentality there, that want to. And to me, Toba Awaka showed that.
Yeah.
So where you could say he got foul trouble or not, even though the guy was, so much bigger than him, I thought he showed well. So that one there is a little bit of a shocker for me.
Yeah, he played 13 minutes per game, almost 5 rebounds per game and 5 points per game this season. And as you pointed out, I mean, when they needed him in the tournament, he was the guy who went out and played physical in a way that they wanted somebody to go and play physical.
Yeah.
And when their starter, Jonas Adu, was struggling, he's the guy that came in and
did well every time.
And did well, both offensively and defensively on the boards. So
he even did well the year before.
He played about the same amount. Yeah, he played about 10 minutes a game. He
wasn't putting as many points, but I mean, you saw the promise. So that one there is the one that kind of had your head scratching there. I wonder what the conversations were said there. Maybe they just told him he wasn't going to be starting. I don't know, man. But looking at the roster, man, I don't know. I know they got guys coming in, but you don't know who you're actually going to get until you get them. To me, when you're, a coach, so I definitely wouldn't run a player off who was a contributor. So maybe he just didn't fit or he wanted to do something else, go somewhere else. Maybe it was on him.
Barnes has 5 scholarship positions open right now.
Yep, as of Awaka leaving. It is interesting what you said.
About the bigs?
Yes, and even about college basketball. Pre-TP, it wasn't uncommon because it's one little locker room and go in there at the end of a season and 3 or 4 different people's nameplates coming off. What happened? Oh, they're going somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like you said, 5 people can play, maybe 6, maybe 7 significant minutes. There are a lot of places where the 8th guy, the 9th guy, the 10th guy. So if you're not playing, you don't feel like you're getting developed. And as Chef Rand says in the chat, NIL. It could have been in. I mean, I think that's going to be what fans always say is like, he's leaving for more money. I don't know how much money he would get anywhere. Maybe somebody really needs somebody like him that would offer him a little more, but basketball has turnover. So does football.
Yeah.
But the percentage of the roster that seems to churn in basketball seems like a higher percentage to me.
And people in the chat, make sure you're listening. I did not say Awaka had Grant Hill skill set. T.J. Martin. I said Grant Williams skill set. And I was talking about not actually skill set. I said his utilization. How they use him in this offense. So listen before you start typing. Grant Hill. Really? Seriously. TJ Martin, reach out to me, bro.
I wish
Come
somebody,
on, man.
I wish somebody had Grant Hill skill set.
man, that there, man. Oh man, yeah, that one's funny. So good, man. I got you.
We want to check in
I
with
know
Kim.
ball, man. I'm from Indiana, man. I play ball with some great Kentucky type players, UCLA players on my high school team, man. I know basketball better than I know football, bro. So you better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
We got to check in with our man Sean Wood sometimes, your high school teammate.
Oh yeah, just talked to him the other day. It was his birthday. Yeah, he went to Kentucky. Yeah, started.
I wonder who
3
he wants.
years.
I wonder who he wants to coach at Kentucky.
Rick Pitino.
Hey, man.
Imagine that happened. Yeah, I think because he know he'd be an assistant coach.
Oh,
I think he's available. Yeah,
71-year-old Rick Pitino. There's some Kentucky fans who
Who they gonna get, man?
some people want them to call Pitino. Have we got Coach Caldwell speaking? Let's check in with the new Tennessee coach. This is University of Tennessee press conference. New coach Kim Caldwell live.
Thank every single student athlete at both of those institutions who helped get me here today. I love you. Thank you for helping me live this dream that so many people want to have. It's not always fair that the coach gets the glory and the coach gets the reward for the work that the players have done. From the bottom of my heart, I love you and I appreciate you, and you will always have a place with me. Mom, thank you for coming all this way. Thank you for being my cheerleader. Thank you for being my support system and my best friend. My dad would be so excited. He would be up here trying to take the microphone and probably sing the words to Rocky Top. I would not be here today if it was not for you and Dad. I won the parent lottery, and you're the best team, Mom, and the Lady Vols will soon know that. To my husband, Justin, thank you for being my hype man and humbling me when I need that too. Thank you for giving up a career you were exceptional at so I could chase my dream. Not a day will go by that I don't thank you for that. I can't wait for my 2 older sisters who I've always looked up to see how amazing this place is. They're going to be so jealous. And when I told my 96-year-old grandma about the transition, her first response was, "Oh, I have a lot of friends in Knoxville, but I think they're all dead." I haven't been here long, and I know I have a lot of history to catch up on. Thank you, Joan Cronin, for meeting me Sunday and the advice that you gave me. And trust me, as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to get back to work. The part of history that I need no catching up on is Pat Summitt's legacy and how powerful the Lady Vols family is. When I say I am honored and humbled to be here, there is not a single person who has gone through this program that I could even come close to beating one-on-one. It is a remarkable program. I can't wait to connect with our former players and listen to their stories, hear their history, and pass on what it means to be a Lady Vol and represent that in our program. Pat Summitt changed the game of basketball, and wouldn't she love to see where the game is now? I will never be Pat Summitt. Nobody can. But I will strive every day to be somebody that she would be proud of. I am so excited to get to work with this team. I got to meet them Sunday night. They're a great group with a big personality, and they are hungry to get back to the top of the SEC. We're going to play an exciting brand of basketball. We want to play fast. We want to play up-tempo. We want to be the hardest playing team in the country. And we want to give Lady Vol Nation something very exciting to watch. I know what this job means, and I am honored to be here. I will work every day to make sure I take care of this special program and give God his glory in the process. Thank you.
Lady Vols, Kim Caldwell, brand new head basketball coach addressing the media in Knoxville. We'll take a couple of questions right here
Welcome,
real quick and hear from a little bit more from the new coach. It's Kim Caldwell, new Lady Vols head basketball coach, meeting the press in Knoxville. We do need to take a break. We'll do that. We'll continue to monitor this press conference, and keep you up to date on what's going on. Tommy in Nashville wants to talk about Tobe Awaka. Trey in Nashville wants to talk about UConn. UConn got it done again last night, 2 in a row. We'll continue to talk basketball. Got some Titans visits that we need to get to, and more. It is a big Tuesday program for Blaine and Mickey, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors.
Allergy season is upon us, and pollen is in the air. But fear not, Cool Ray has your back. Our $49 tune-up will have your HVAC system running smoothly, keeping allergens at bay. Plus, enjoy 10% off indoor air quality products for an extra boost. So are you ready to say goodbye to your old HVAC system? Well, with Cool Ray, it's out with the old and in with the new. And we'll even give you $1,000 off your old system when you upgrade with us. That's right, we'll pay you to breathe easier. And with Tennessee's unpredictable weather, it's crucial to be prepared. That's where our whole home generators come in. With $1,500 off, you can keep your home powered up, rain or shine. So don't let Mother Nature catch you off guard. Let Cool Ray be the beacon of reliability. So Tennessee, are you ready to embrace spring with confidence? Give Cool Ray a call today and let us make this season a breeze. We're your partner in comfort, no matter the season. So here's the spring filled with sunshine, smiles, and stress-free living. Cool Ray, keeping Tennessee cool, plumbing right, and lights bright. So visit coolray.com to take control of your home's comfort. That's coolray.com.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Happy Tuesday to you. Lady Vols have got a new coach, and she is officially official. Kim Caldwell. It was good hearing from her and checking in with her. So I get her philosophy on things. We'll continue to get to know her, and we're going to play you some audio coming up. She got asked about her system and will it work there, and she gave a very pointed answer. But let's take our own phone calls first. 615-737-1045. Tommy in Nashville on the phone. Tobey Awaka has entered the transfer portal, and we will talk about that and more with our man Tommy here. What's up, Tommy?
Thanks for having me. Blaine,
Yes, sir.
I went to the Maui Classic at the first of the year, and I was just like, this Owaku, he's just so physical. And I said, man, he is the most physical player we got, and he's going to be a major factor in this season. And he didn't get to play much over there, but I found out that he had an ankle problem, and they were keeping him out. And I thought, well, when he gets over that ankle problem, you know, he's going to get a lot of playing time because he's so physical. And it just never happened. His offensive skills still need a lot of improvement, but I think that's probably what it is, Blaine. I probably think he thinks he didn't get to play enough. And I agree with him. I think he should have played a lot more than he got to play this year. And because of his physicality, if you see him in person, he's just strong as an ox.
Yeah, he looked like a football player, man. He looked like he could be a great football player. Wow.
Oh yeah, he's. I just don't think that he was used enough. And of course, anybody can be a Monday morning coach, but that's probably, I think, why he's probably transferring. He thinks he should have got more playing time than he's got the last couple of years.
Tommy, man,
good
that's not Monday morning coaching. That's a fair assessment there.
Yeah. Maybe that's probably the case.
I mean, that's a fair assessment. Trey in Nashville up next wants to talk about the repeat national champions, UConn Huskies, it looks like. What's going on, Trey?
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Doing great, man.
Hey, I just wanted to say, the way that Purdue lost is pretty much the way that most teams lose against UConn. You know, when you have one person, that scored, Zach Edey scored 37 points. The next guy scored 12 points. And then there was nobody else that scored anything close to that. You can't win like that, But big ups to UConn. It was a great game. And they beat Zach Edey, and the rest is history. And y'all have a good day. Thank you.
I appreciate the phone call, Trey. You want to join them? 615-737-1045. Edey had 37. The rest of the team had 23. Only 4 other guys even scored. The one guy only had 2 points who had the great putback dunk, just a fantastic putback dunk. But that was one of the 4 guys who scored had 2. Purdue went 1 for 7 from 3 in that game.
And what did I say yesterday about 3-point shooting for Purdue? They were going to have to hit 8 3-pointers to win the game.
And they only took 7 and made 1.
They had to hit 8. And then the guard play had to be, because I actually thought Connecticut was going to double Edey a little bit more than what they did. They have a big man. So, but even the coach had to admit that they were going to have to start doing some different things, double him here at times. Hurley did when they interviewed him. It was at halftime maybe by Tracy. They didn't get. He didn't get any supporting cast. If he would have got a supporting cast that could hit some threes, I thought the length and the athleticism of UConn at the guard, where they were 6'5", 6'6", and then Newton's play on offense, put them in a great spot. Purdue was going for a while, but there was only so much they can do. And then once they wasn't hitting threes, it was pretty much a wrap. I was afraid that could happen. But I didn't think it would. I thought Purdue would show a little bit better. Lawyer didn't show up at all as far as hitting any baskets as the other guard there. But Smith did, who's really solid at the point for them. But, And Edey does, he did what he's done to everybody else, even against a proven guy who's higher rated to him. So had a lot of motivation. Actually, he showed in this game, compared to all the other games, I thought he played better in this game than I'd ever seen him. And I don't look just at points. I'm talking about some of his moves, his reads about them doubling them and everything else. And he rose to the challenge of another big who was probably a little more athletic than him, but wasn't more powerful. He still had 20 pounds on the guy, 20, 25 pounds on him. So I was impressed with that. He's still going to have to slim down and get a little quicker once he gets into the league and probably get more of a face-up game a little bit. He's got to be able to hit some mid-range shots, but boy, what an enforceable shot. And by the way, all the UT fans who want and hate him because he beat them, look, I don't like the Baltimore Ravens, but I have to respect that they beat us and that they are really good. Guess what? And guess what? I want to say I want them to win the championship because I want to say only one team could have beat us and they won the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be like, oh, they got beat in the championship. Nope. I want to say that they won it all because guess what? They were the only team that could have beat us. Mm-hmm. It was a good game to have, and then after that, they took over. It was over. And man, by the way, the history. I don't know if I ever even myself thought of UConn as a blue blood, but we got to put them there. Got to. They've won 3 natties with 3 different coaches since 1999.
6
overall.
6 overall, right?
Yeah.
That's insane. That's crazy. And he's doing it with guys. Then they talked about they lost 3 guys to the NBA. They had transfers from not really Rutgers. I think one was East Carolina, something. I was like, whoa. And they were, some guys who were elevated, and they elevated their game after coming off the bench, being part of the system, man. So, man, you got to have to tip the cap, man. They were the best team all season. So was Purdue. So we got to see the 2 best teams pretty much all season play in the championship. So that was really unique. And, man, UConn, they were really – can they do it again? I wouldn't put it past them. Really? And Hurley on the sideline is just fun to watch. He's intense, man. He is intense. For a basketball coach, he is super intense.
No, he's very busy chatting up everybody during the game. So ESPN Way Too Early Top 25 has Duke number 1, Gonzaga number 2, Kansas 3, UConn 4, Iowa State 5. But they're going to be right back in it. They had Vols at number 9 in the Way Too Early Top 25, which people are dropping all over the place. But, yeah, I wouldn't put anything past UConn. It was – their offense is such a beehive of activity. And they get that run in the second half where they were getting those alley-oops and they were able to penetrate and, get 2 guys in the lane running and make Edey pick one or the other guy.
Yeah, that's what they did, the pick and roll with Edey, which was phenomenal after halftime and made him have to choose, and they won. And that really what did it.
Yep.
That was a good point there, Mickey. That was awesome. I was like, oh, man, dang, Tennessee should have done that. That's what I was thinking. Put him in a pick and roll. He has to make a decision. You either get the pull-up jumper if he backs off. If not, you throw the alley-oop.
The thing I was most impressed about when guarding Edey is just the different ways they were able to guard Edey. It was either clinging straight up. They brought that guy off the bench. I can't remember his name. He picked up 2 early fouls there when Clingan got his first. And then they had 2 guards on him, double teaming him, and they were just running. They were running to the perimeter, back inside, just switching and doubling. Anytime that ball looked like it was going inside. And after probably about the first 10 minutes, you could see Hurley really started to figure out where he needed to go. And I know Edey ended up with 37 and 10, but I think defensively on Edey, UConn did about as good as they could to at least disrupt the rest of Purdue.
Yep, and that was the key with their length and athleticism on the perimeter. Yeah. Because those guys didn't, besides Smith, they didn't really get a lot of contributions for guys. Yeah.
And there's do we just try to take the best guy and shut him down? Do we just throw everything we can at, or do we just say, just let him eat. Just see what he can do. He won't shoot threes. He never gets out of the lane. Let's just let him do what he does. And then we'll just let everybody else beat us if they can. And they couldn't beat him. Yeah. The other 4 guys could not beat them.
Yeah, that was a great strategy, So it worked. But I really thought their execution on offense was really, really good.
It was fantastic to watch.
Yeah, especially when they run the circle deal at the top. Man, it was, hey. Some people would say UConn. I'm surprised a lot of people don't like the UConn coach because he can come across as arrogant. I love the confidence, so it doesn't bother me at all. But some people would, because he speaks it into existence. Because he said, in 2020, was it?
In 2020, he said, get us now.
Yeah, because that's when they lost to Villanova, right? Or some game. I forgot who they were playing.
I believe it was Villanova, yes.
He said, get us now because we coming. Like, ooh, I like the guys like that.
Has there ever been a team to win 3 in a row?
I don't think so.
UCLA.
It might have been UCLA back in the 60s.
Yeah, that's it.
Late
Because
60s.
we were trying to figure out who all had won back-to-back. Florida, 06, 07.
Yeah.
Duke in
Duke.
our era, 90s era basketball, getting it done. Then you got to go back to UCLA,
But-
who they had a couple of mega streaks.
Was that with the
Think-
68 team format? That one with the.
Oh,
No, I was gonna
that
say,
was
No.
much
Is it-
smaller
if you
tournament.
Winning 3 in a row with a 68 team format as your bracket. I mean that would probably be one of the most impressive program accomplishments in college athletics.
It would go back when we talk about things, and I always kind of go towards, well, this happened in the 60s, and Bart Starr did this. I always talk about the old things that happened. But with that many teams in the tournament, and Blaine, you always remind me, like, just look at the eras, right? The best of each era. Winning 3 of these suckers in a row in this era, where you got to play that many games to win it all, as Bananas pointed out with 68 teams, would just be an unbelievable. Michelle said Louisville did it too. I don't think
Is that the ones when they had to vacate one? But even though they still win, is that year?
They didn't win it. Louisville hasn't won it back to
They didn't win it
back.
back to
Michelle,
back.
you'll have to tell me what you're thinking there. This is in the chat. She said that.
I don't remember. Yeah.
I don't remember Louisville winning it back to back. They won 2 in the 80s, but I don't think they won them back to back.
That was with Denny Crum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this was from BetGM. This is an article. So, repeat NCAA basketball champions. Oklahoma State did it in 45 and 56. Well, 45 and 46. Kentucky did it in 48-49. San Francisco did it 55-56. Cincinnati 61-62. UCLA did it 64-65 and then 67-73. I mean, Duke did it 91-92, Florida 06-04, and now UConn 2023 to 2024.
So Louisville's not on there. Were they in the champion?
Louisville won in 80 and 86 in 2013. That was the Pitino one. So 80 and 86.
86. That's when they had the McCurry brothers. Do you remember?
Rodney McCray. Yeah, that would have been in
McCray.
86. They had Dr. Duncanstein in 1980. Oh, Daryl Griffith.
Oh, he was on the 80?
And he was like 6'3", and he
Oh, yeah, he did great for the Utah Jazz.
he was unbelievable. He could dunk any way you wanted. Maybe he wasn't even 6'3". He wasn't as small as he looked, but the great Dr.
What was,
Duncanstein, Daryl
Because
Griffith.
I used to watch a lot of Louisville, Kentucky, because that's when Indiana was good, too. So when did they have Milt Wagner? Was that time, too? When was that? Remember that guy?
Oh yeah, Milt Wagner was.
They didn't.
He was on the 86 team, right?
Oh, okay.
I think that was Milt Wagner. I'm trying to remember who
That
all.
came out of my. I didn't know how to even remember that. Just watching it, I was like, man, Louisville's good. That's when they were.
Oh, Michelle says that's my bad, Mickey.
Hey, we all make mistakes.
All right, here's what Mark says. UK came close, 96, 97, 98.
Yeah,
he
they
says.
lost. They lost in 97, won in 98 after winning. in
That's
96.
what it is. They played in it. They just didn't
Yep.
win it.
Yeah.
Okay. 97-8. So, yeah.
I'm curious today, Kentucky fans, would you be cool with calling Rick Pitino? Because there is a groundswell of Pitino. People are like, why not? Remember, he left to take the Celtics job. It's not like he went to some other college at the time. Then he gave the famous speech, Larry Bird isn't walking through that door.
Well, Coach Cal has officially said goodbye to Kentucky. So
Oh, is that officially official?
I sent you
Okay.
guys his 3.5 minute long Twitter video to Big Blue Nation.
Well, tell us what he said.
I didn't listen to it yet.
All right. Why don't we listen?
We'll
We'll
listen to the break.
tell you what he said
Okay,
on the
I thought
other
you did.
side. Rick Pitino, 71 years old, 20 and 13 at St. John's this past year. He went 219 and 50 at Kentucky before leaving for the Celtics. Had a title and a runner-up, a Final Four, 2 Elite Eight teams. He said, all right, Cal said goodbye. Let's check in what Cal said. We'll do that next. It's Blaine and Mickey, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors.
Was he walking his dog?
He did yesterday.
Hey, this is Blaine Bishop, and I'm excited to tell you about Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, or as you may know them as TOA. And TOA has 29 locations, over 100 orthopedic physicians throughout Middle and East Tennessee to take care of all your musculoskeletal needs. In addition to their orthopedic clinics and urgent care facilities, TOA offers physical therapy, hand therapy, and sports performance training for teams and individuals at their sports performance centers. And as a former professional athlete, I know how important access to expert orthopedic care is. Whether you're an athlete, active adult, or just looking to get back to living your best life, you can visit TOA online at TOA.com. That's TOA.com. Or you can call them at 1-855-NEED-TOA. That's 1-855-NEED-TOA.
Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. Rick Pitino saying his official goodbyes at Kentucky. He's sitting on a couch surrounded. Rick Pitino, sorry, he might say hello. John Calipari, thank you. I got people tweeting me about Rick Pitino because I've asked Kentucky fans, do you want Rick Pitino? And I'll have to read you the tweet I got here. But no, John Calipari is sitting on his couch surrounded by decorative pillows. Blaine was like, is he at home? He's at home. Here's a quote from the Field of 68 via a retweet from Jeff Goodman on X. This is a dream job. It was my dream job. The last few weeks, we've come to realize this program probably needs to hear another voice. That's Coach Cal. Blaine gave you some really good insight on what happened there at Kentucky.
Well, speculate
early in the show.
No, I did it while we were sitting in the green room.
Oh, you didn't say that on the air?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, you say it right now. Give them.
I'll let
you tell them what happened.
It's just me speculating what probably happened. You go ahead. You got it.
So, Arkansas State had a football coach, and that it had run its course. They weren't going to buy him out because it was money that Arkansas State didn't have. He knew. Guys know when the end is near, right? They know. He knew that if he had one more year that was bad, they were going to have enough money at that time. Another year would have been it if it had been below expectations. So they basically told him, you and your agent can go find you another job. We'll even reduce, because he had a buyout. Cal doesn't. They said, we'll even reduce the buyout if you find something else and want to go. And he went and found something else and he left. The Cal thing, which is what you said in the green room, was Cal's people probably went to Kentucky. And Kentucky said, hey, man, another year of below expectations, we're going to have to do something. If you want to go find yourself something else, go find something else. And
it saves them, and everybody's a win-win on both sides because
everybody wins. We don't have to buy you out.
Mm-hmm.
You find your next thing. Everybody leaves their own, strong in their own way.
Yeah.
We get a fresh start. You get a fresh start wherever you choose. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So, now it's interesting to see what direction will they go. Already, some of the top candidates that has been mentioned on television, on our show, and all across the country. A lot of guys, even the national champion there, UConn Hurley. So I'm Oates, Donovan. That's the only name I haven't heard say no. He's in the NBA. So the league is a little bit different now as far as how you have to operate with the NIL. But we all know he's a great coach there, and with the 06-07 Florida team.
That's it.
So I mean, where do they go? I have no idea. Man, you guys got any other names that you could kind of? I know there's a lot of people out there, but I mean, you're going into the swamp, and when I say that, I'm talking about of Kentucky basketball, who is the elite. It's the version of, I guess, Alabama with Nick Saban in football. I mean, they are going to a proven winner, and they're going to throw around the dough for a proven elite level coach. I don't know. You got somebody bananas?
So, Bet Online has some odds on who could be Kentucky's next coach. The leading candidate is Scott Drew from Baylor.
Oh, I like that one.
He's at plus 100, so he is a heavy favorite right now. Nate Oates at Alabama plus 300, but like we mentioned, he already put out on social media he doesn't want to. Rick Pitino is at plus 700 on that list. Billy Donovan at plus 900. Mark Pope out of BYU at plus 1,000.
Much about you.
Kelvin Sampson out of Houston at plus 1,200.
Oh,
and
that's intriguing.
Sean Miller of Xavier at plus 1,600.
Yeah, Sean Miller too, but Sampson at Houston.
That was from earlier this morning.
OG, been through all the grinds.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Houston, man.
If they didn't get that guy to get injured, a lot of people saying they were the ones that could take down UConn.
Now, I will say this. You could probably throw any up-and-comer out the door. I don't think Kentucky goes that route. I think they're going to go get an established guy.
Yeah.
Someone who's won something. That's probably why Scott Drew is the leading favorite with Baylor. They've been pretty victorious, I guess, in postseason.
Yeah, you put
as
Baylor
of
on
late.
the map as far as basketball, no doubt.
So
that's a great point about Manaz. They definitely, it's not going to be not at Kentucky.
So-
No way, no how.
literally in the chat, there's Mark who has the Kentucky blue M as his symbol. I guess he's via YouTube. Yes, we would take Pitino. Then I mentioned Patino in an earlier segment, and Swerve on Twitter tweeted me and said Pinto at UK again, and a million laughing face emojis, and said HE double hockey sticks. No,
Yeah.
it would be divisive because you
controversy, yeah, no doubt.
But hey, man, what did we tell you? He went 219 and 50 at Kentucky from 89 to 97. He left to go to the pros. He won a title. He had a runner-up, a Final Four, and 2 Elite Eights. I think the first 2 years he was there, they weren't even eligible to play in the postseason.
And before all the scandal there at Louisville, how was he? And then where is he at now? Iona? No, where is he at?
He went to St. John's.
St. John's.
This is his
Yeah,
one.
St. John's. He's at St. John's.
20 and 13 at St. John's this
St. John's.
past year. I think they were 13 and 11 in their league or something like that. They had a winning record, and they turned down an NIT bid.
I think a lot of players were saying they were going to enter the portal or something like that. Or maybe they didn't want to play in it. I
Yeah.
don't know how that works there, man.
Typically, if
players got a lot of clout.
if players would have clout, if they said, "Hey, man, we don't want to do it. Let's focus on next year. Focus on whatever." But that's Patino again. 71. I think he'll be 72 in September. So you would have to know this wouldn't be a.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Sam says no one in the entire Commonwealth wants Patino.
Okay. Yeah.
with this hire, so with Cal, your very bare minimum expectation was top 3 in the SEC, make the tournament as a top 3 seed at least.
That's fair.
It'd be interesting to see what happens if like there's a new coach and maybe it doesn't go well the first season. What kind of happens to that fan base, to that program if all of a sudden, we're not top of the top?
Well, that's why you have to go with someone proven, because if not, if it's not a proven coach, it's just up and coming, as you mentioned, that wouldn't happen. They would run them out of there after 1 year. It's going to have to be a veteran coach who can handle all that, and they got to see his resume and believe that it'll get it corrected. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, that'd be a nightmare. Didn't that kind of happen? What was the deal with Gillespie when they hired him? Because they had was it Tubby? As the coach, but yeah, the pressure cooker that Kentucky head basketball coach is. Nah, they got to. I think they got to come in and win right away. I don't care who it is. Seriously,
Would you want that job if you knew
That's
that
what I'm
like
getting at. This is gonna
like
be tough.
if I go in there and I don't do exactly what they want, if I don't meet the bare minimum expectations, which is what Cal has done for the last 15 years.
Well, you get a pass a little bit if they, lost in the first round, but it's still going to be tough.
The great competitor guy, though, would be like the best of the best to coach at Kentucky
yeah.
in that cathedral of an arena. I mean, for basketball, well, the best of the best. He doesn't look at it that way. He thinks, "Oh no, I'm going to go there and I'll win big.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll have my legacy.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how they think.
I'll put my legacy right up there with everybody else. Because go there, that fan base, those resources, the history, everything. Gosh.
What if Drew and Sampson turn it down? Where do they go then?
Then that's the.
Woo.
Rick Pitino's sitting in the shadows. I've been waiting all this time.
Yes. All right, we got to get to hour
That would
number
be
2 of the
funny.
show. We'll do that. Lady Vols make it official with Kim Caldwell. She got asked if her style of basketball would work for the Lady Vols. We'll play you her response to that in the second hour of the show. Also, Titans had a bunch of visits yesterday. We need to tell you about that. We'll do it all in the hour number 2 of Blaine and Mickey, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors.
Did you know Eurofix has a very different business philosophy? They staff all their locations with more staff than the average auto repair shop, just so they can be ready for when your emergency pops up out of nowhere. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to get a right now appointment for vehicle repair? Well, some dealers can be more than 2 weeks out just to get a freaking appointment, but not Eurofix. Eurofix has been offering quality repairs that beat the dealer without the dealer pricing since 1999. Plus a 3-year nationwide warranty and a staff to fix your car right now. So if you're tired of waiting forever to get your car into the shop, then call Eurofix. Owner Aaron Stokes says, we will never be too busy for our customers. We're here to take the pain away, and we mean now. And Eurofix repairs all European cars. Eurofix says yes to speedy repair when others can't or won't. Family owned for 24 years. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can just visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But I always tell them Blaine said, Joe.
Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. It is 2 o'clock. I'm Joseph Bonanno. The University of Tennessee officially introduced new Lady Vols head coach Kim Caldwell. Earlier today, Caldwell was asked whether or not her style of play would work in the SEC or if she would need to change her philosophy.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't think we could do it here.
Other news from Tennessee basketball, sophomore forward Tobe Awaka confirmed on his Instagram earlier this morning that he will be entering the transfer portal alongside Freddie DeLeon and DJ Jefferson. Awaka averaged 5.1 points and 4.6 rebounds in 13 minutes for the Vols this season. The move leaves Tennessee with 5 scholarship openings on their roster. Veteran safety Logan Ryan announced his retirement this morning at 33 years old. Ryan's 11-year career included 2 Super Bowl titles and a 3-season stint with the Tennessee Titans from 2017 to 2019 and included a pretty good playoff run. The Nashville Predators are back home tonight to host the Winnipeg Jets, needing only 1 point to clinch a spot in the playoffs. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, hour number 2 on a Tuesday, hanging out with all of you guys and gals. Hopefully you had a great eclipse day yesterday. Got a great view of it wherever you were. I think it kind of varied around Middle Tennessee, what kind of look you got at it. But really enjoyed everybody's pictures and videos. We had a great day at Two Rivers Ford. Appreciate them having us out. And look forward to getting out there again sometime. It was a fun visit. Tobe Awaka in the transfer portal. You heard that in Bananas Update. Also, Kim Caldwell. Officially official at the University of Tennessee in a press conference today. And we told you to hear that audio, and you heard it in Joseph's update. Here, hit that one more time. Will your system work at Tennessee?
Kim, do you think your style of play can translate to the higher level, or do you think you'll need to modify it a little bit?
I wouldn't be here if I didn't think we could do it here.
Short and to the point. I like
Confidence.
that. Hey, man, I like the confidence. As Blaine said this earlier, look, all she has done is win. Now, I get it. She's coming from 7 years at a D2 school, Glenville State. They won a championship, a national championship. They also played for another one. Then she goes to Marshall. Marshall hadn't even made the big dance in 27 years, and she led them there. They led the nation in three-point field goals attempted. They were third in three-pointers made per game. The Lady Vols were tied for 102 in three-pointers attempted last year. So it's going to look a lot different when they take the floor. But she paid homage to Pat Summitt today and to the history of the Lady Vols, and she did all the things that you would want to hear somebody do. So officially official there. I'm looking forward to seeing what they look like.
So what does this sound like? So since she got hired, all the graphics have had explosive offense and pestering defense. Who does that sound like to you? Sounds a little bit like Rick Barnes' style the last couple of years.
Well, they've certainly pestered on defense, and the offense has gotten more explosive over the last couple of years, especially this year with DK.
Yeah, not early Rick Barnes, but
Yeah.
last couple of years Rick Barnes, where the three-pointers have been more of an emphasis for his style of offense. So if you're just looking at, like, will that style play in the SEC, I think it will. And I know the women's game and the men's game is a little bit different, but Rick Barnes did it on the men's side. You see Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers and Angel Reese and LSU and Iowa do that kind of offense, at least on the women's side. I think it'll work here. I bring in the right players, it'll work.
What's she saying her style was? 3-point? Fun and gun? Running?
Oh, yeah, they shoot more threes than anybody. Marshall did last year.
Did she say anything about defense?
I haven't seen any quotes about defense. That was a direct question somebody asked. Will your style of play work here? And her thing was, I wouldn't be here if I didn't think it would work. So,
And that always changes, and it'd be interesting to see if she pivots a little bit just based off of the SEC playing against better players and how that style works. But naturally, you got to go with the system and the style that you are comfortable with as a coach. That doesn't mean game to game she's not going to make some adjustments, but you got to get the right players first and foremost to fit your system, guys who can, ladies that can shoot all over the place. So I don't know. You know, Bananas probably watched them more than me. They got a lot of great shooters already on the team.
Not a really. Their best shooter right now is Jules Spear, who announced
Shooter or score?
Shooter. Their best 3-point shooter, returning is Jules Spear.
Yeah.
She announced that she was returning actually the day before Kelly Harper got fired. And apparently, like, the entire Lady Vols team was in the room at the press conference. I did see that on Twitter. So, and it seems like they're excited for a new coach. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
I want to see what they do in the TP.
Yeah. Because
she essentially just went out to the flagpole and raised a flag that said, shooters, scorers, wanted.
Oh, did she?
I mean, that's this system at Tennessee.
Well,
boy.
So
that's why I asked about defense.
One of the questions when I was looking for that clip that I heard her is like, "Hey, how's the response from recruits been since you got this job?" And she goes, "Well, I haven't been ignored like I was at my other schools." So she's getting responses back from all these recruits because she's got the University of Tennessee and the Lady Vol history behind her. And so now if she can just get her style out there to these basketball players, these high school recruits, these transfer portal recruits, like, hey, you guys want to score points? You guys want to shoot the 3 ball? Come here. I'll show you how to do it. I'll let you do it.
Well, there was apathy with fans with the program. This will take all the apathy and wash it away. Because now everybody's like, dang, I really want to see what this is going to look like. I really want to see who she gets to play there. I mean, you may not love the hire because she's young and doesn't have a lot of experience, but you're at least curious about what she's about to do.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes the deal about making a change is, with Kelly Harper, they were winning games and they were going to the tournament and doing what they do. But there was apathy around the program because this is Tennessee and fans expected more. So this will re-engage fans, starting with today. We've had a lot of discussion about what Kentucky's going to do for a coach now because Cal made it official, did a press conference from his couch, and that he is leaving Kentucky officially. There had been no official announcement. I think some people were kind of getting nervous. Saw a couple of my buddies in Arkansas said, it's funny, he hasn't told Kentucky he's officially leaving yet. So
he made it official today.
Yeah, he did. They were a little bit nervous last night and into this morning about it, but trying to figure out, does Kentucky want Pitino back? Some people were saying heck no, and some people were saying heck yes. And Tim in Cool Springs wants to weigh in on this. I know there are Kentucky fans here. We would love to hear from you. 615-737-1045. Tim is up first.
Well, I'm not a Kentucky fan, so
okay.
Don't count on that.
Okay, that's fine.
I will tell you they haven't won in 12 years, and they won't win in a long, long time. And there's 3 simple reasons. They've got to get out of this strategy of one and done and putting people in the first round of the NBA draft. It doesn't work. You have to go more like a Rick Barnes and keep people around for 4 to 5 years of eligibility to build a competitive team. Second of all, do you know how much Kentucky basketball makes? If you Google it, you'll be surprised. It's sub $10 million. They don't own Rupp. They rent it.
Yeah.
They don't get they get a fraction of the gate. They get a fraction of the concessions. They don't get any of the parking. And up until recently, they didn't sell beer. So they don't have money. And that's why Calipari got taken to the woodshed when he said, the football program's great. Football program makes $35 million a year. So they're sub 10. So they're in a very negative loop right now, being able to afford what the fans want to. And lastly, they're going to have to start recruiting kids that actually go to class more than the first semester. Because right now in the one and done, they go one semester and they're done.
Yeah. So, I talked to some administrators. Yeah, they rarely even do that.
Yeah, so it's going to require a fundamental change that's going to start with probably a new athletic director and a fundamental change of a coach, fundamental change of strategy. And I think you'd be nuts to go there because the fan base is neurotic. They're like cockroaches. They're everywhere and they won't die.
Oh, Tim, boy, all the perspective there.
Even with bug spray? Road spray?
Well, the new coach will definitely have to have a different philosophy. Cal was the king of that one and done philosophy. That's basically the Cal
That's
philosophy.
what people were saying. He needed to change his philosophy, and I don't think he was going to change.
I remember
I really don't.
Years ago having a talk with somebody who was kind of connected in college basketball, and the subject came up about the second semester that a one and done is in school. And I was like, I never really.
Yeah, they didn't have to go to class because then if they flunked out, it was the season's over.
And the season was over before the semester was over. So they never even had to pay the piper at the end of the. I never put the clock and the calendar together because, what's today? It's April 9th. So the latest you would have played is April 8th, and you typically don't get out of school until like May the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, no, man. Literally, you could get put on probation after your first semester because that maybe didn't work out so well, but you never had to pay the piper for the end of the second semester. I was like, my gosh, I never even thought about that.
Oh, yeah, I definitely.
The one and done deal.
Yeah.
Who were the two names that we were? The guy from Baylor, Scott Drew, and then the guy from Houston.
Yeah, Sampson.
Kelvin Sampson.
So I looked up the Houston and Baylor's rosters from this past year just to see, like, the
composition of them. Yeah.
Lots of seniors, lots of juniors.
Well, you can look at UConn.
UConn, too. Lots of older guys.
UConn and Purdue, I think it was Jeff Goodman that tweeted this out before the game. Those two schools combined had 1 5-star.
Yeah.
Those combined, all of the rosters for both teams had 1 5-star. They won with experience. Guys in the system. Like you said, UConn lost, 3 guys?
Yeah, came right back, and they just elevated other guys and brought in a couple TPs, and boom.
The
TP guys you mentioned, they're role players, and they played everything perfectly, UConn did.
The current game of college basketball is, I think, more about developing guys than it is getting the freshman talent that are going to start right away. That's where it's shifted right now.
Well, even like those Butler teams from a few years ago who made it to the final game, or these Gonzaga teams that always seem to make and I know we had I can't remember the gentleman's name in the chat who always tells me they choke, but they make the Sweet 16 or so every year because they have a bunch of upperclassmen. Guys wait their turn. I think Chuck in Clarksville wants to dispute the Kentucky and no money thing. Chuck, what's up?
Yeah, that was informative. I didn't know.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
That last caller was full of something. I don't know what, but Kentucky's got oil people or coal people that tip more than $10 million a year. They don't have any problem with money. That's not even an issue. Now, Calipari. Hey, I love Coach Cal. I think he did great, but his time had come, and and I think both parties were ready for him to leave. They're going to bring somebody in there, but the college game has changed. You got 25, 26-year-olds playing ball now. That's going to change here in a few years because they're going to go back, I'm sure, to go in just 3 or 4 years on their eligibility. So some of that's going to change. But I really think, actually, Kentucky's got a great fan base. They're passionate. Yes, they're going to be pain in the butt sometimes, but they're one of the best fan bases there is. So this guy's full of crap. Kentucky's a top-notch job. I'd love to see Billy Donovan come in. I think he's been there. He knows the situation and can handle it. I think Scott Drew would maybe be a good come in there and do too. But, yeah, the things are going to change because the game has changed. You're going to have to get some players that are going to stay around and be around when they're 24 and 25, 26 years old to compete now. It's almost like a pro game. I don't know why they still got amateur status because ain't none of them amateurs anymore. So that's just my take. Kentucky's got more money. Like I said, they got guys that tip more than what Calipari made a year.
I appreciate the call.
No, I didn't know if the stadium was set up. I did not know that. I wonder if that was true. We're up there. No, I agree. Yeah, they definitely have money. And what brings it? Football is always going to be it's the bigger arenas. They're always going to make more money than the other sports. Mm-hmm. That's why they're the king. Regardless of how good the programs are.
Football's the king of the king as far as money, for sure, because of all the TV money. It's just ridiculous. All right, Tom in Bowling Green, one more call. Tom is a Kentucky fan calling from the Commonwealth. What's up, Tom?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say a little bit about Calipari. Everybody here in Kentucky really they didn't really put up with him too much because he was probably the greatest recruiter in the country, but he was probably one of the worst bench coaches there is in college basketball. His assistants did most of the coaching, but Billy Donovan would be probably a good hire, but he's been out of the college game for quite some time, so we really don't know how he's going to fit into the new style of college basketball because it's basically professional college with everybody is a free agent every year. They got the NIL money, so we really don't know how Billy Donovan's going to happen. Patino is well liked in Kentucky, but he's just too old for the job, to be honest with you. And we'd like either one of the UConn's coach and also Houston's coach, who already said no, but somebody's got to be, up with a new style of basketball in college. So that caller said Kentucky didn't have any money. He's full of crap.
Yeah, Tom.
He doesn't know what he's talking about because it's horse money basically. But if you put 24,000 plus in the arena every night, you're going to be successful. So that's what I got, guys. You got a good show.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Yeah.
Man, appreciate you listening up in Bowling Green. My former stomping grounds. Used to work on TV up there.
He used to run Bowling Green,
Long
man.
time ago, I did not run anything. Billy Donovan and the Bulls are going to play one of these play-in games. They're like 9th now in the East. So, they're going to make the postseason in the play-in game. So he would essentially have to walk away from that if he was going to leave the NBA. This Kentucky who coaches basketball will be a fascinating story to follow, and we will follow it. But right now, we got to follow up with Coach Mack. It's time to talk some Titans and draft and more, and we will do that. Our weekly Mack Attack coming up next on Blaine and Mickey. All right, ladies and gents, dingers, blast, moon shots, whatever you want to call them. Everybody loves home runs, right? Everybody digs the long ball. That just sends a jolt of lightning in every baseball game. Of FanDuel's Dinger Tuesdays, you can love those long balls even more. That's right, Dinger Tuesdays are back for another season on America's #1 sportsbook fan book. You just bet on a player to homer. FanDuel is going to give you $5 in bonus bets for every home run hit during the game. As if you needed another reason to love the long ball. You just visit FanDuel.com/Mickey. You can get in on all the Dinger Tuesday action. Like maybe you want to go for Aaron Judge to hit one out. Maybe Goldschmidt tonight for the Cardinals. I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit lucky for him. But just hit up FanDuel.com/Mickey and you're ready to go and ready to make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. You'd have to be 21 and up, though. Present Tennessee. Bonus issued is not withdrawable. Bonus bets expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $25 per game. Restrictions applies. In terms of sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Oh, yeah. Blaine and Mickey, Tuesday. Second hour of the Tuesday show always has a visit from our man, Coach Mack, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. We were just hanging out there yesterday. Didn't get to see Coach Mack there, but we knew we'd get to talk to him today. And as always, Coach Mack, great to have you on the show, buddy. The draft is just getting closer and closer. How's the Coach Mack draft board looking on April 9th?
We're putting it together. We're piecing it together. I know you guys were at the South's most trusted Ford dealer yesterday. Every show was out there. And did you get to see any of during your time? Did you get to see any even close, or was it too cloudy for the eclipse out there?
It was extremely cloudy, Coach. As Blaine pointed out, it was kind of dark and cloudy, and it kind of got darker, and then it just got lighter and cloudy again.
That was weird.
Then as soon as we left, the sun kind of popped back out.
Yeah, I know in 2017 the Titans were practicing. It was during training camp. It was the end of August. That one that came through here, and so we all got they shut practice down, and we got a great view of it then. And then I watched a little bit of it on the Weather Channel. It's a fantastic event. I mean, and I talked to a lot of my friends in Texas, and from the Valley of Texas all the way up through Dallas, they got a pretty good look at it, totality too. So pretty interesting.
Well, you don't see many eclipses, but every year teams see 30 guys on top 30 visits. And I wanted to ask you this, because sometimes like a team will have a guy and you think, why in the world would they have that guy? But then they don't have a guy and you think, why wouldn't they have that guy? So I thought, well, let's just ask Coach Mack, what all goes into deciding who gets top 30 visits?
Well, I'll tell you exactly how it goes. First of all, a lot of it depends on how many guys that you're able to spend quality time with, both at the Senior Bowl and at the Combine. And I'm talking face-to-face. And if you feel like that you've gotten enough in that in that situation, and the area scout feels like they have enough, information, and then, your person that gathers all of that personal information on them, has a pretty good dossier on them, then that makes you good. If not, if you would like to dig a little bit deeper, then you will start to bring people in. And some of it too, guys, is, because you only get to pick one pick around, right? Unless you've got two picks, but very seldom you get multiple picks in a round. So you're picking one person, but you want to get an idea of some of these people that intrigue you, that probably may either be out of your reach or may either be picked, during the time that you don't have a pick as the rounds progress, because there's free agency in this league, and sooner or later everybody's going to be available again. So that's the way it is when it starts out. Now, there's some guys that you've got targeted from the first that you'll want to bring in. The assistant coaches have a huge part of this, and then Rand and his scouting department, depending on how much really detailed information they've already been able to garner over the past 11 months, they have a big input on that too. So there's quite a bit that goes into it. But now with the Senior Bowl offering, face-to-face interviews with guys, scheduled interviews, and the Combine doing it now, they've gone from 60 to 45, but they've also gone to 18 minutes, so it's a little bit longer that you can have them on those scheduled interviews. All of that goes into it.
One and only Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Coach, I guess I know we had a coaching change, so they started, practicing or meetings, kind of go into depth of what they can and can't do, and then what are the pros and cons of that for the veterans, or are there any cons?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is voluntary. This is phase one of the voluntary. Okay. They just get to start earlier, because they've got a new staff, and so with phase one of this, you're not on the field. Now, what they are doing is a strength and conditioning, and then the meetings. But you're not on the field with the coaches during this part of phase one. It's just an accelerated phase one for teams that have new staffs, so that they can start to get together. And as you well know, as pro athletes, they really cherish a routine, so they can start to understand how we're going to meet, when we're going to eat, how things are going to run. How are things going to run in the weight room? You got a new weight and conditioning staff. How is that going to run in there? So all of those types of things you start to be able to get ironed out, and then you start working into phase two, and then finally phase three, which is the scheduled OTAs and then the mandatory mini camps in May and June.
Yeah, also, getting new systems put into place, I guess, with those different phases. with the vets in, with the new staff. I know you're having visits, as Mickey was talking about, with some of the rookies. How does that process work when you have a visiting up-and-coming rookie who could be drafted, and then they see the vets in their meeting? Do they get to sit in the meetings? Kind of take us through when they do the walk through the hallways, what they do.
No, they're not in the meetings.
Okay.
They're not in the meetings with the vets. What you do is you've got scheduled meetings with the head coach, with the coordinators, with the position coaches. You've got scheduled meetings, with the people in HR. You've got scheduled meetings with the PR people. I mean, they've got a scheduled list of going throughout the building, as far as the people. But then with Rand Carthon and his group, so that's what they have. Then they're not in the meetings with the players at all.
We're on with Coach Mack, giving us the Mack attack, and I know you've given us the grades, but how would you say this overall draft, in particular, maybe the first round, it's easier to say it that way, compared to last year's first round draft picks? And maybe that's by position with strengths and weaknesses of those, but how does this draft compare to last year's draft?
Well, last year's draft, was not as deep in offensive tackles or offensive centers as this draft is. It was just about, there's some very, very high quality receivers in this draft, just like there always, just like there always has been. I think the top of the receivers in this draft, goes a little bit deeper as far as the grades, run through it. And then back there in the secondary, I don't think there's not as many top tier, probably interior defensive linemen this year that there have been in previous years. But the strength of this draft, and it just sticks out to you. The other thing is the quarterback. In the quarterback draft, we've talked about this a lot. With us talking and then on air with your show, is the quarterback draft is a separate draft than anything else. And this one is starting to be really, really interesting when you start to look at it and start trying to discern who may trade up into the first round, not necessarily at the top of it, but into certain picks to be able to pick guys. Because I think you've got some guys, other than the top. Everybody kind of agrees the top four are Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and J.J. McCarthy in whichever order or that you like. But Michael Penix, from Washington, and then Michael Pratt from Tulane, Spencer Rattler. I'm interested to see, because I saw where Jordan Travis had already taken the boot, off of his leg down there now at Florida State, and has started to do some things. Kind of interested to see how all this is going to play out, because the closer you get to the draft, and again, you guys know not to believe anything you read or hear right now, because none of it's true, but some of it may have, some underlying truth to it, especially, with the quarterbacks.
Wow, yeah, season of lies. Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack.
So, Coach, a lot of people talking about Alt and Fashanu. They're both left tackles. Most everybody that I've seen says, okay, one of those guys is my number one and my number two. There are a bunch of other guys who are maybe left tackles that'll play right tackle, or they're a tackle that's going to be a guard. But I wanted to ask you, who are your third and fourth guys who are a left tackle in this draft?
Well, to me, the left tackles, the guy that's a true left tackle is Tyler Guyton at Oklahoma. But again, as I say, he's a developmental guy. Jordan Morgan at Arizona that have played left tackle. Karana Agamaji from Yale, is a guy that's done that. So to me, look, guys, there's offensive tackles in this draft. And I'm going to do. I know exactly what they're going to do in their meeting rooms. Is they're going to acquiesce to whatever Bill Callahan says, because whatever Bill Callahan says and thinks he can develop and work with, in the long term, that's what they're going to do. But they've got choices. There's people that believe that J.C. Latham, even though he was a right tackle, can come over and play left tackle. Just like Talaisi Fuaga from Oregon State. All of these guys, have a skill set that's going to lend to playing pretty quickly in the National Football League. Now, as you start going down the list,
clearly there's a differentiation between them. Marius Mims at Georgia. I mean, this guy's got all the skill in the world. He just doesn't have any experience. Not any experience at all as far as, a number of snaps as compared to some of these other guys. So at the end of the day, whichever one they pick, I'm riding with Bill Callahan.
On the opposite side of the line from Callahan's troops, you got the D lineman, of course. Tavondre Sweat, the big guy from Texas. It was
my man Devondre needs to just stay off of 6th Street a little bit down there in Austin.
Well, it was reported he got a DUI. That report came out Sunday. Then literally yesterday, Monday, he visited here. Guy comes in after a situation like that. What's that visit like where that's on his resume now and you got to talk about it?
Well, what were you thinking? What were you doing? You understand the importance of it. That's what you ask them. Got to be straight up with them, and ask. I mean, basically, the first one is what was the circumstances? What happened? What were you thinking? You understand, some of the perception that's going to be out there. It's always going to be a tag on you now that happened 3 weeks before the draft. Until you take the tag off of you. It's much like our guy that has turned out to be one of probably the best tackles in the league did with the gas mask on before the draft.
Recollections of Laramie Tunsil from Coach Mack here, giving us the Mack attack on Blaine and Mickey.
Who's now probably one of the best tackles in the league.
Literally, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, you said something very interesting to me. J.C. Latham from Alabama. You said he can play left or right. Did he play left or right at some point in time in Alabama?
No,
so how do you scout that?
He's played right. I'm just saying some of the people I've talked to that think that he's got the ability to possibly be a left tackle.
No. What I was asking is did he do some workouts where he did both left, footwork and then right, and that gives people the say that he can do
I have no idea. I mean, that's just I think I have no idea, and I didn't ask him, because when I talk to these people, I let them talk, and there's some people that feel like that he might have a possibility of being able to move over just because of his size, his length, I guess, but no, he played right tackle. When he played right tackle.
Okay. Now, recency bias, I'm sure you recall Skoronski. Where would he rank if he was coming out in this year's draft as a tackle, just because that's what he was playing? Now, I know he'd be first round, but where would he fit in the mix?
Because Peter Skoronski's built different than some of these guys. Mm-hmm. He would probably, I would think, depending on how you have Fashanu and Joe Alt, he would probably be right there in that mix, probably third to those guys.
Okay. But have you done your grades on the players yet? Can you divulge your grade, even 1 to 10? You don't have to give us your actual grade, but I wanted you to compare for my last question here, the top graded offensive tackle versus the top graded wide receiver versus the top graded DN edge.
Well, the edge is Dallas Turner, and his grade is below the tackles and the receivers. Okay, the top graded player probably in this draft is Marvin Harrison Jr. Okay, that's the top graded player. Then the next tackle, and this is pretty split as far as the way grades go, is with Joe Alt and Fashanu. They are right there, back and forth. But I would say position wise, you would go as far as if you're just looking at a strict grading system on the board. It would go wide receiver with Marvin Harrison Jr., tackle, take your flavor of Alt or Fashanu, and then Dallas Turner.
Got you. But you get the number one edge if it's Dallas Turner, though, right?
Yeah, all these guys I'm talking about are going to be the number one picks at their positions.
Well, Fashanu and tackle. Okay.
Well, there's nothing more fascinating to me than this time of year, Coach. Love talking about it with you, and we got a couple more of these we get to do before the draft. Then they'll pick people, and then we'll get to talk about them, and then they'll work in with the team. We'll get to talk about that. It just never stops, and I love every minute of it. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate talking ball with you. We're going to do a big start digging into deep OTP starting tomorrow. several of them before the draft. So here we go.
Okay. Well, everybody will be looking out for that. Of course,
in.
TennesseeTitans.com and the OTP, wherever you consume your podcast. Thank you, Coach.
See you guys.
Yes, sir. One and only Coach Mack. All right, we'll come back. Tavondre Sweat was among the guys with reported visits. We'll give you that updated list when we come back, including a local guy on his Instagram tipped that he had been here for a visit. I think you like this guy. I'll tell everybody who it is.
Graham Barton?
It's a surprise. We'll share that for next. Blaine and Mickey.
Oh.
Whew, man, summer is just around the corner. Think about you and your crew, you and your family just pulling up on the lake, having your own spot there. Well, guess what? It's time. You can do it. Saturday, October 20th, limited number of lake lots being released to the public. You can experience this lake living dream at a fraction of the price. Told this story before. Favorite summer of my life. Long story, remodeling a house. We lived on the lake. I wish we could have stayed on the lake and never moved into the house. We remodeled. Go get yourself this property. 2-acre wooded estate lots and lake cottage packages and lake lots with a boat slip. And there's a new marina and walking trails and shoreline and a clubhouse. And they have concerts on the waterfront. And you can get in your golf cart and ride to your boat. This is the dream scenario. They've got financing available. It's all about 20 minutes from Knoxville. Call today. Get a private appointment. Times are limited. Here's the number, 865-408-9992 or lakelivingtn.com. Get after this property. Make the most of this because memories start here.
Below MSRP? Below MSRP. Below MSRP. It's pretty simple. Two Rivers Ford sells all new non-specialty Fords below MSRP.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Appreciate you hanging out with us today. Appreciate the Mac Attack joining us. Remember, if you missed anything or you want to hear anything again, Blaine and Mickey podcast, wherever you consume your favorite podcasts. Also, just download the Zone app, then you'll never miss anything wherever you go. It'll just go everywhere that you go. Maybe you'll go on a top 30 NFL visit, and you could just take the Zone app and listen to it while you're walking up and down the halls. So this is all reported from various sources. Malik Neighbors visited the Titans yesterday, Monday. Malik Neighbors. So they've had multiple conversations with him. So did J.C. Latham, who you just asked Coach Mack about, who is he's only ever been a right tackle at Alabama.
He ain't playing no left tackle.
So if you take that dude, I think if they took a right tackle at 7, people would lose their bleeping minds around here. Because they already took a guard at, 11? Skoronski, they made him a guard. Was he 11?
Yeah.
I think he would be the number 1 guard if he came out. That's why Coach Mack didn't say he was the number 1 tackle. He said he'd be in the mix. I don't know, man.
If you took a guard,
body build, it said,
if you took a guard and a right tackle, this is completely different administration. I think people would still. I think that's one of the ways that you could anger people the most on draft day. You know how the Jets fans would always go to the draft and boo whoever the Jets picked.
Oh, they always did.
I mean, they're not going to boo this guy. There's a lot of Bama fans and SEC fans. He's a good player. But a right tackle at 7 would send people into a frenzy.
I'm not a fan of his. Ever since their playoff game versus Michigan, when I saw him get pushed around by that Michigan front, I just not a fan. And Blaine does have a point where offensive linemen from Alabama, at least on the outside, have just not worked out well as of recent years.
Yeah. Not all of them, but it's just like they just turn into okay players. That one guy that went to the Raiders, he just flamed out. He bounced around. What's his name?
Alex Leatherwood.
Yeah, Leatherwood. I'm like, man, I thought he was number 7. I remember everything about.
Yeah.
What? He need to trim down, get in a little better shape. Because he has the skill set, but it hasn't worked out. Wow. So that means he's not good enough.
So Latham visited.
I don't want no right tackle first for 17.
Okay.
I am not with that. That'd probably be one of the ones I'd be like, what are you doing, Rand?
I'd rather them get a wide receiver.
But put an X through his name. It's an X for people on Zone TV. Shout out. Tavondre Sweat was reported as getting a DUI on Sunday. Then he was reported to be here on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
The big Texas defensive tackle. So there's a whole lot of scenarios. The Titans pick 7th, right? So how many quarterbacks go? At least 3, probably 4. Let's say 4 quarterbacks go, which is not crazy out of the question. Well, here, let me tell you who else. Who else?
Who has the picks? Yeah.
Here you go. Justin Mello reported Tyler Guyton has visited. Then I'll go back to my scenario. Tyler Guyton has visited Oklahoma. And Junior Colson had a pic on his Insta of him in the hallway.
Oh, yeah.
Junior Colson, I know you like him.
Yeah, middle linebacker, yeah. I think, there's a group of 3 of them that probably, maybe not first round, but they're probably second, third. Yeah. He's a good athlete. They're a good kid. So he checks all the boxes.
He was extremely kind to my son.
You remember?
Yes, several times. He and Jake Brenningstool, who are both on the same Ravenwood team. Jake's at Clemson, but these two fantastic players who were on the same team, both very, very kind to my son. So, Junior, if you're listening, or your family, super, super nice kid. But he put on his Insta a picture. He was in the hallway. You could tell where he was. So, he kind of reported his own visit. But so the Titans, 4 quarterbacks are going to go, as Mac always says, and everybody knows. People always overextend on quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. So let's say 4 quarterbacks, and then there's 3 great receivers. So technically that could just drop alt right in your lap. That also is going to drop one of those 3 receivers in your lap if you're picking 7, because that's 4 quarterbacks and 3 receivers. That also drops Dallas Turner in your lap.
The number 1.
The number 1 edge rusher, as Coach Mack just said on his board.
So you got Chicago at 1.
Yep.
I think we can agree quarterback.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Washington at 2. Quarterback. Especially after they just traded Sam Howell. Number 3, New England. They got to go quarterback. They don't have a quarterback on the roster. Well, no, they have Jacoby Brissett, right? He went back to New England.
Yeah, security blanket. Yeah.
Number 4, Arizona. Now, this is where I've seen either Marvin Harrison Jr., they trade out for a team that needs a quarterback.
Yeah, a lot of people have Austin Fort. Oh, he'll trade out. He's the trade king.
5 is the Chargers. Now, I think this is where it gets tricky with Joe Alt because I have no idea what Jim Harbaugh is going to do. Because we've heard him talk, and it seems like offensive lineman and his just like his diamond in the rough. Like, if there's an offensive lineman there, he's going to take him. But they desperately need wide receivers.
Roman is the OC, too.
Yeah.
Which came from the Ravens. They like to run the ball.
Yeah. 6 is the Giants. I don't know what direction the Giants are going to go because they have capable offensive linemen on their team. They just can't stay healthy. Their receiving isn't great. It's not terrible. It's not great. They did just lose their best skill player in Saquon Barkley. And then what are they going to do with Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
And then you get to the Titans at 7.
Looks like they're in a good spot. They're going to have some options.
And there are scenarios out there. What if they, traded back to 10 with the Jets, the Titans? What if they traded back to 11 with the Vikings?
Or 12 with the Broncos.
12 with the Broncos because the Broncos need a quarterback. What if the Broncos?
Where's the Raiders?
13.
Raiders are 13. That's a whole scenario that we've gone through a couple times on the show before. So there's a bunch of mocks and different things out. We can go through some of those tomorrow for sure. We'll have time to do it. That involve a trade. Our guy Ben Arthur, who covers the AFC South, had a potential. And I should have
trade up.
He had them trading back in the second round to get a third. So Ben Arthur, and I would credit who said this in the F&M Bank chat, and I know our music's about to start playing. Somebody weeks ago said, if you really want a third, just trade back in the second to get your third. Then you get your third.
Keep your second.
That maybe could get you Junior Colson. That could get you one of these other receivers. That could get you a lot. I mean, that third-round pick would be real nice. So we can go into all that and more tomorrow. But we've used up all our time today, and it's time for 3HL. So let's clear out. Let those guys talk some basketball and some football and everything with you.
But in the meantime,
in between time, peace.